Hey all, welcome back to Skate 3. I'm Insetic. With me on the set is Blank Tester.
Hey kids, how's it going?
Turo.
Threve.
And Zindictive.
Hey guys.
And in this video, we're finally heading to the DLC, so we'll be covering two of the smaller DLCs in this video. First, the Black Box Skate Park, which is just a nice, little indoor skate park or so. And then also the Sanatorium, which, was a nice little Halloween DLC, I believe. But yeah, Black Box Park, It's just got, like an own the lot and a one-up there. Apparently, it'll say this, it's not actually like, Black Box is the game making team that made this, but apparently this skate park is named that completely separately.
Totally independent?
Totally independent. Yeah.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Okay. Well, yeah, that might be somewhat interesting, but what's more interesting is the state of the Skate sequel news that's come out over the last week. This is kind of the pros and cons of we finally get a new game when we're doing this video on the series, but so within the last week, we're recording this on July 14th.
Right.
First, a leaked pre-alpha got released, so something back from September of last year, but people are actually able to play it.
Yeah, it was fully cracked and released online.
That was, incredible, because it has a bunch of kind of the new features as well, you're just able to play and see how it's going. But
it's
then
very
also, literally today, we got the news of, how the game's going to be, and it is going to be a free-to-play microtransactions based game that might be online only. That's not been confirmed, but all of these free to play microtransaction games have been. So that's not great, my friends. It just keeps happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep.
So obviously we could make this whole video us ranting about free to play games and microtransactions and stuff. And I don't think that would be very productive, because everybody hates microtransactions. Everybody hates free-to-play games.
Yeah.
Pretty much. It's not a hot take. So we don't really need to we don't need to reiterate all that. What I would like to ask, first of all, one thing I want to note is a lot of people are wondering about whether or not there's going to be a single player. And I was specifically listening for that in the announcement. I think the video is called The Boardroom. And they said they were making something that's supposed to be bigger than a single player experience. But then they said multiplayer is a big part of the Skate thing, and we were looking to make something that's a bigger than a linear single player experience. And that's not confirmation either way, but to me that sounds like it's multiplayer.
There's also the fact that, some YouTubers and such, some ordinary gamers, such as Mudahar, have been noting and even pretty much making videos shitting on EA for some of their hot takes on single-player games on Twitter and such. Just being kind of antagonistic, kind of towards single-player and anyone who likes it. So
there was that one tweet where it was straight up she's a 10, but she plays single-player games only.
Yeah.
Which was oh, wow, that's...
It's a really bad take, dude.
So again, in the last few hours, you guys, typed out a bunch of your discussions or whatever. I didn't read a word of it. So, I'm bad with words today, but I'm still here
despite his experience on the Steel Donut, Connor cannot read. So
yeah, I know.
Yeah, he's been faking this whole time.
Every piece of writing seems like a bad piece of writing when you can't put any letters together.
Yeah.
But no, I don't know. Yeah, it actually was kind of getting to me. Thinking about it. I guess it does sort of feel like, oh, it finally happened to me kind of thing, because it's Destiny Immortal, or not Destiny Immortal, sorry, Diablo Immortal is the worst cash cow model ever, and it's I sleep. That is Skate 4, which will also just be known as Skate period, just like the first game.
Which they've been trying to get that branding the whole time.
Will be microtransactions free to play, and I'm fuck
real
me,
shit.
you know?
Yeah, not even real shit. You're like, oh,
I
fuck
feel
me.
bad because it, you know, like just a couple videos ago, we had this whole discussion, and I think I said like, I can't imagine that this kind of game is something da-da-da, and that's the problem of recording things and putting them out there, because now that's locked in, you know, you know...
There's a public record that
we
you were
could have
wrong.
and should have maybe, you know, we could have just goofed about other shit for 45 minutes, but now, if I ever go back to watch that video, it'll be like, oh, silly me, you know?
Yeah.
Which,
It's like that EA, like, they saw our video, they saw us making fun of that shit, and they went, hold my fucking beer.
Yeah, it's like, no, fuck these losers in particular.
I mean, again, we could get really negative about it, but I do want to point out, like, they said, and again, I don't know how honest they are. They seemed honest, but that's because they wanted to seem honest, and most people are at least sort of honest. They said that the 4 rules that they had for the microtransactions were not pay to win, no map areas locked behind a paywall, no paid loot boxes, no paid gameplay advantages. And that last one has some really specific wording.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, like, I don't know what that means. That does not say to me no paid tricks.
Oh my god, again, I almost don't want to say it, but what the fuck if it is something like paid tricks? I mean...
Right. Like, it seems like we've got paid cosmetics, and, like, I think we're all basically in agreement. Like, if somebody wants to pay for cosmetics, that's between them and their wallet. Like, I don't really care. If it seems like it's worth it to them, you know, do I think, as a whole, we should basically gamers rise up and unionize against big corporations and demand lower prices by not spending so much on cosmetics? Yeah, probably. I don't want to set the new standard of $10 for one skin. But, like, I don't know, if at the end of the day it is somebody else's money, and I couldn't care less what they do with their cosmetics. You know, no pay to win sounds good, but I don't know what pay to win would have even looked like in Skate.
Yeah, and I guess my main problem with the cosmetic thing is just, it ends up kind of blowing the game at the end of the day, where it's just unnecessary shit added in just for the sake of making yourself look unique and all that, or for branding purposes, which is probably what's going to happen with Skate. It's be a lot of branding.
Yeah,
but,
I think, as we've seen with other games that ended up having much more, like, you know, microtransaction support than expected, like Halo Infinite or such, you know, the worst case here is if, like, the actual game is, you know, buggy or has serious problems, and instead of advertising, hey, we're listening to you, we're patching this or whatever, they're advertising what their roadmap is 2 years out, you know?
Yep.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, like, Skate is more than just the gameplay. Like, sure, the gameplay was revolutionary at the time, but by Skate 3, you know, the real reason it lasted or so, you know, it was not just the cosmetics, it was not just, like, the gameplay. Again, this is not saying, oh, put 360 flips behind a $5. Like, please don't fucking do that. That's too dystopian. But it was about, you know, all the other stuff, like the, you know, the cameras and replays being able to, like, kind of revolutionarily get you the exact clips you wanted. It was about the multiplayer aspects, which I guess if that is going to be, you know, the free part of it, you know, I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm terrible with words in a way that's not even funny today, but I can really see, like, what comes with the free to install part and what is locked behind money really can kind of change what people do and can do, you know.
Right, yeah.
with
I mean, like, at the end of the day, like, they want to put something that people will find valuable behind a paywall, but not something people find so valuable that they're pissed off about it. Right?
Like something that is inherent to the experience.
Right, like, if multiplayer had a subscription fee, we would scream, right? That would be a nightmare scenario.
Like,
you know,
or
like
Skate
if Tricks.
3, let's set a little bit of a barometer here. In Skate 3, local multiplayer was DLC. Let's set that as our barometer, I guess.
Interesting. I think that's weird. I can't.
To be fair, it was part of the art gallery DLC,
which included other stuff.
Which included the art gallery map.
Okay.
But it was the same.
So that almost feels like they kind of like included it as part of a like we were already working on this thing and we're just releasing it. You get this thing and I don't really necessarily have a problem with that, though. I don't think that would fly today, especially for a free-to-play game. But that said, like I don't even know that local multiplayer is even on the cards, because like local multiplayer has been disappearing from console games. Over the last couple generations, just on the basis that, like, it's hard to develop local multiplayer, and rendering 4 different views or 2 different views live can be very intensive on a, on a system
especially
that's
in games
pushing...
like these days.
Yeah. And let me, like, include this as well as a thought about, like, cosmetics and such, because, like, that's, you know, the kind of thing of, like, oh, it's okay if... or more okay if a lot of that is paid. But, like, you know, a fun part of these 3 skate games has been, you know, making several, you know, multiple outfits for any video. And also, like, with, for a direct example from Riders Republic, there were shockingly less customization options available to you without paying than I expected there to be in that game. Like, genuinely, when you started a new character, you had maybe 2 or 3 outfits. Or at least, like, outfit choices for, you know, shirt, pants, da-da-da. Like, so
2 or 3 per category.
So many more cosmetic options out of the whole pool was tied to, oh, what's in the store for today, than I thought. Like, there was not even just, like, plain shirt that you can make white or red or green or yellow, you know. And, like, so if the cosmetics end up being, like, actually really limiting without digging into your wallet, I think that is going to be a problem.
Yeah,
like,
I would be okay with them doing, like, sort of limited cosmetics for free, in the sense of, like, if there's, like, a t-shirt and maybe, like, maybe a couple designs, 2 or 3 designs, but then you could maybe customize them a little bit by, like, altering the colors without having to pay for the colors. That would be nice, right? Like, I would be totally fine with that, because at that point, what you're paying for with with cosmetics like a shirt or pants or whatever in the game is the design, the model of it, but then actually apply your own texture, apply your own colors to it. Whatever. I would be totally fine with. But, like, what I wouldn't be fine with would be, like, nickel and diming, like, okay, you want a black shirt? Here, you know, it costs however much. You want a white shirt? That costs this much. And they're the same design, but you have to pay, like, again for it, you know.
You know, okay, you know, like, I don't know, you can have a, 99-cent pack of some, skate brands shirts or whatever. But again, going back to Riders Republic, genuinely, like, if I saw a very low-leveled character, like someone who had just started, pretty much all of them had the same look. Like, the same flannel shirt or whatever.
And that's
if
what
it
they
wasn't
want.
that, it was people, who had, like, this super fancy... full matching outfit because it was at the end of the battle pass, of the season's battle pass, and it was, like, so, flashy and over the top. Like, yeah, I was gonna say, that was another thing I heard in the boardroom video. They mentioned specifically lots of seasonal content. And, like, I don't know what seasonal content looks like for a skate game. I really don't. What was seasonal, like, what was in a season pass? What were seasonal events in Riders Republic? Did those exist? What was that? I have no idea. Yeah, Riders Republic is at least on season 2 now. Their seasons were, well, Riders Republic came out at the end of last year. So their first season was, like, released to March, and I actually stopped playing pretty much right when they went from season 1 to 2. But yeah, it was like, various different, boards, snowboards or skis or bikes or such. Because remember, Riders Republic is like 5 or 6 different kind of
sports
things or whatever. Or like cool, cosmetics or stuff along the way.
It was essentially like a roadmap cosmetics.
Sorry, what?
But did they have, like, events to do for the season? Like, I'm still thinking about it in terms of like you know, we've been playing Destiny. There's a seasonal activity that cycles in, and the next season that activity will go away and a new activity will show up, and that's like on a new map, in a new, you know, whatever. So like, they're not doing paid map areas.
Yeah,
so
Rise Republic was
events.
a little weird. Rise Republic was a little weird because it was more like they'd rotate out what the type of multiplayer event was from like week to week.
Okay.
I see what you're. I know what you're saying, and Rise Republic did have its flaws. I know I complained back in like a Skate 2 video about having to do like the dailies for different sponsors or whatever, where you could only do 3 a day, to get to like rank 7 or 8, where literally that's when more actual events you could play were unlocked to you.
That's weird.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird. So like,
it's weird
okay,
that they demand you
if,
play so much in order to get more stuff to play.
So okay, if Skate lowercase period, the new one, not the original one. God, I hate. Just call it Skate 4.
I really fucking hate it.
Yeah, if
add a subtitle. Like, I don't give a shit.
If that is just like, okay, reach rank 10 and you get a bunch of new like skateboards, you know. But I mean, like, every board plays the same. You can do all the tricks and whatever. Then, cool. All right, you know. Yeah, again, don't like keep events. I remember I talked about this, and Turo, you were like, please, game, I want to play your content. Don't lock me out of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
We are gonna end up talking this whole video about it.
Yeah, because there's also, what if we, it's EA, this is probably a bad idea to do, but what if we take them at their word and that it's like all the season stuff and all the free-to-play stuff is like all cosmetic, and ultimately like it's just like free skate or whatever. Like you have this map and like there's like challenges and stuff to do that like you level up and you earn more gear and stuff and whatever. And it's like it's not really like a story. Yeah, like, you know, your standard free-to-play stuff. Would that be so bad?
I don't think so.
Like. So, sort of my barometer is the only, like, I don't really play Rocket League that often, but when I do, I only play it offline. I play the single season mode, like, just, like, that's all I play in Rocket League. So, like, all of the monetization stuff is just completely over my head, and I don't give a shit, and it's basically just a free video game.
Here's the problem with what you just said there, that there is an offline. That's my problem, because my problem is that if they're going for this whole, like, free-to-play, honestly, it's going to be online-only sort of thing.
But also, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, there's going to be an issue of they're probably not going to have an end-of-life plan for this, which means there isn't going to be an offline thing, which means that as soon as the servers are done, the game's gone.
Yes. That's not what I meant, but also that's probably one of the more glaring negatives of all of this, is that, yeah, like, this is probably going to have an end-of-service thing at some point in the future. Maybe it's 3 years, maybe it's 10, who knows, but this game probably is not going to last forever.
Yeah, and that's my biggest issue.
Be lost of time.
They specifically said they want it to last forever, and I was like, why would you suggest that? Like,
yes. Like,
why would you ever say that?
I could totally foresee in general, like it's probably going to go offline in a time where, like, a bunch, like once live service games really become, like the mass, like, the large majority of video games, I guess, if that ever happens, and then, like, all of a sudden you're having a lot of games pretty frequently that are just, like, end of servicing, and you can't access them anymore, like, that's probably gonna, like, maybe cause some heads to turn. Like,
I don't know.
In the wider community.
Yeah.
Here, I'll talk about, the only other thing I can add is my experience with a game recently that is a free-to-play one, but, you know, that I've actually enjoyed or so. Bob got me into Destiny 2. And that's, you know, free-to-play, and I've enjoyed it enough to where I have dropped money for the different, you know, DLCs/season pass things, and you know, enjoyed the content of each one enough that I don't feel like I've, you know, wasted my money. At the same time, I feel really averse to you know, buying any of the currency that you use in the store to get, you know, skins and whatever, because there it is like, ooh, I feel a little worse here, like opening up my wallet kind of just like because I have to, because I like the way something looks. So I understand how that can really be a turnoff, but I guess what I'm saying is that I am literally enjoying a game that is following the free-to-play model and finding it worth doing enough to keep going. You know?
Yeah, and I mean, there's other free-to-play models that I think work, like
Apex Legends, or
I was actually gonna say Warframe. Warframe is fucking awesome. Like, the thing about Warframe is, like, honestly, this is maybe to its detriment from a monetization perspective. Warframe is such a good game, just as a game, that, like, you have to grind like hell to get anywhere without paying money, and that sucks, except that the core gameplay loop is so good that you don't mind grinding that much. Or at least, a lot of people don't mind grinding that much. So there are a lot of people who are just free players and play the shit out of Warframe. And, like, it's a good game. I played it for a while, and it was really fun. But, like, it wasn't good enough for me, and I wasn't good enough at the game to, like, sink enough hours in to get that far in. And so, like, they've really struck a balance there where you want to get more gear. And, like, Warframe is almost exclusively PvE. Nobody cares about the PvP, right? So, like, you're not paying to win so much as you're just paying to skip wait times. And, like, you know, I hope they don't do that for Skate, because the systems in Warframe that kind of obscure the fact that you're paying for a wait time to skip a line, skip a wait time. The systems are all really confusing, and Skate has always thrived on its simplicity. You know, so like even regardless of DLC, regardless of other things, even if you don't really like the control scheme is really straightforward. It says to do a thing, you do the thing, it happens, right? Like, it's just very clear cut, this is how it works, and it's mechanically sound. And it's good to see that they're building that up before they're building up these other systems, monetization and customization and stuff, because that is really where it needs to be strongest. Skate needs to play well.
You know, I have a side tangent about that, but I was literally watching the trailer, so people have been like because the alpha has been cracked, the pre-alpha has been cracked, so people are like uploading footage of it without risk of like being banned and stuff like that, or at least I think, or like a lot more people have access to it than they ever intended to, so there's more people who are willing to like break the rules and like post videos of it and stuff online. And I was watching like an honest to god edit someone made in the pre-alpha, like already people are making edits in it.
Yeah.
And there was two comments that definitely, like, in hindsight were foreshadowing. Someone said something like, oh man, I hope they really don't fuck this up, which, like, they haven't fucked it up yet, but also this is probably...
There's still plenty of time.
Yeah, no, like, people are already considering this to be, like, to quantify as a fuck up. And then someone responded to that with, yes, but now that we have this pre-alpha that's cracked and leaked for anyone to download on the internet, if they do fuck it up, people can probably just continue doing stuff with this pre-alpha and making it better. Which... Probably not true, but I do know there are some robust Frostbite modding editors stuff out there.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's true. Yeah, you could totally, if depending on how it was cracked, they could probably make that the pre-alpha last, and it's basically a fork of the game engine. At that point, it would probably be illegal.
But to combine, like, what kind of both of you are getting at, the Skate series, part of what it really introduced and built its core on was that you can do everything, at least, you know, trick-wise and mechanic-wise, from the very start. You don't need to get your stats up to 10 out of 10 to have the best experience. And then also, again, like, the real popularity and real long-lasting, you know, remembrance of this series is based on stuff like people being able to make really great edits and such. So I guess if, again, you know, like the pre-alpha had all your tricks and no mechanics are going to be locked behind paywall or such. That's again, best case.
Yeah, that's actually what I was going to say. You continue first, but yeah.
No, I was kind of winding down, just like, again, it's just, I've repeated this before, so this is going to be my last thing. It's really going to depend on what you get for free versus what you do need to pay for.
Yeah. And because that was also one of the things in the pre-alpha, they already had a functional replay editor.
Oh, okay.
Which, I mean, shows, like, that's a pretty, like, strong foot forward in what their priorities are, I guess, in a sense.
Right. They want to make this mechanically sound, and part of making it mechanically sound is making sure that the replay editor works.
Like, I mean, I guess from, like, a game development perspective, it makes sense to do this, but it really seems like they are working on making the game first and then worrying about the monetization stuff. Yeah. Because I've also seen in, like, the pre-alpha, there is already, like, a daily challenge system and stuff like that. But also, it does seem like the pre-alpha is, like, it looks jank and it plays jank, but it seems pretty fully featured from a gameplay alone perspective.
Yeah,
like, the parkour systems in there already, you can do, like, what I assume are at least 90% of the tricks in the game.
Yeah, and, like, I think the thing about that is the, they're going to have to create new art assets for the whole game.
Yeah,
and
of course.
it makes perfect sense for them to start talking about the game now rather than talking about it earlier, because if they talk about it earlier and just say, like, we're working on Skate and here's some really shitty gameplay, we're gonna all go, wow, I don't know that they're gonna do this well, right? But, like, releasing or showing really solid gameplay but, like, really crappy art gives us the opportunity to watch them grow the art over time. And that works on its own, it's basically its own marketing, right? Because, it's, like, anytime a game releases a trailer, I look at the thumbnail, and I think to myself, do I want to, I mean, I'm obviously not running through all these thought processes, but, like, do I want to watch this trailer? Am I actually interested in watching this trailer? Is there anything in there for me? If it's a game that I'm not interested in, I don't click. But if it's a game where I'm watching the development as it's going, watching the art grow is a really good way, because that's going to, like, every time you release some new art, it's going to look good, right? Like, theoretically, it's going to look good.
Yeah.
Gameplay,
like, even in that
gameplay mechanics are not going to show as well on screen. So, that's the kind of stuff that behind the scenes, extra features kind of stuff that like, a hardcore, like, fan might want to see, but, like, most people don't want to see.
Yeah.
So I think this is a really shrewd strategy of theirs.
Yeah, and that sort of reminds me of how basically we're still working on it has almost become like a marketing tagline.
Yeah,
for the game.
I think it was planned as a marketing tagline from
really,
the jump.
Because it was obviously announced like 2 years ago now, when they got Cuz Perry and Darren Chung to just stand in front of a camera for a minute and say, "We are making Skate 4."
I mean,
which even in
Skate 4 is now more developed, and we've seen more of it than Metroid Prime 4.
Yeah,
and that was announced with a logo or whatever. Like 5 years ago?
Wasn't that announced with the Wii U?
Yeah,
like,
God.
But let's see what we could do with it.
So, like,
and now like the Switch is in the back half of its life.
Right.
God.
So, like,
all right, let's get it done.
Yeah. I mean, Breath of the Wild was also announced for the Wii U, and they had to remake parts of the game to make it work.
I'm very not glad, I guess, but I am amused that they're very finally putting their foot down and saying, the game is not called Skate 4, because if you go back and watch that initial trailer, they never refer to it as Skate 4, they just simply say, we are working on Skate again, and no piece of promotional material has ever called it Skate 4. They've never wanted to call this Skate 4.
Like, I want to call it something different than what the first game of the series was called.
Like
why
SSX?
Why is it that people with money love to do this? Right? They like to name things. They use the name of a product that already exists. Right? Like, this was my problem with the Xbox One. Nobody really cared that, like, there was the Xbox 360, and what did we call the original Xbox? We called it the Xbox One. That was what we called it at the time.
I mean, to be
Yeah.
fair, this has been going on for fucking years of games.
Yeah,
the new Need
decades.
for
It's
Speed
been-
game, Need for Speed 2016, Doom,
Yeah.
Doom 2018, whatever.
But it's like,
2016 as well.
It's 2016
same.
as well. Like,
It's the same shit with movies. Movie series do this all the time, and it's like, fucking stop. God of War did it. Fucking didn't Final Destination do it? I'm pretty sure Saw did it at some point. Like,
Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2022.
yeah. Like, it doesn't. Like, just stop. Just fucking stop.
Coming up with a cool ass subtitle. Well, I wouldn't want it to be called like Skate Reckoning, or something like that. But
Here,
like
I've got
for
a
Texas Chainsaw Massacre or something, like you can have a fun time coming up with a cool subtitle.
Yeah.
I've got a pitch. I've got a pitch for a name. Are you guys ready to hear this? Free Skate.
Free Skate. Is that the name of a game?
That's my pitch for a new name for Skate 4. Free Skate.
That feels like something that might already exist.
Yeah, Free Skate. Just the name of that sounds like.
That was a dope trick.
Sounds like. Well, actually, I'm gonna stop that. Yeah, we're at the end of the video. We didn't talk about what happened with it at all.
Oh.
But the Sanatorium was a nice little, I believe, free DLC where, it's just like a nice little map. But then also this area, which was the Thrasher DIY skate park from Skate 1 remade.
Okay.
Yeah, I also completed some tough stuff. There was that film challenge, Do It in the Dark, that is, pretty tough even if you're just trying to own it. I'm not going to try and kill it. That's what Toro was talking about a while ago. Just some
insane
cool little
challenge.
stuff. And actually, as you see, it's at night, which is different than the entire rest of the game. Which
The entire
is
rest of
at
the
day,
series.
bright sunny
and
overhead.
it's honestly one of my favorite DLCs of all of Skate 3 DLCs.
Yeah. Anyway, Free Skate sounds like a game that came with your computer with like Windows XP.
Free Ski.
Kind of like Ski Free, yeah.
Yeah, Skate Free. We'll think more about it.
Okay,
Skate 4.
well, this is...
And if
this is-
anybody from EA or fucking who are
Full
the devs
Circle?
here?
Full Circle.
If they're listening, hit us up. My
Yeah.
Blanktester6969 on Discord.
Yeah.
I'm not giving you my Discord people from Full Circle,
don't-
but you can just
this-
give me money if you want.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
that would also be welcome.
I could give you anything, but you'll reject it because you hate me for my opinions.
Dudes, this series has now turned into one of those, like, daily news aggregations of what we're following kind of thing. All right. We'll record the next video right after this on July 14th, so that won't have any new info if something drops, like, tomorrow. But, join us then.